Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be working on this cute little owl. This is great for scrap busting. I had all these little scraps that somebody gave to me a while ago, and I didn't know what to do with them, but I thought they would make the cutest little gifts to give away or just for fun. So I made this little owl, and I wanted to show you just how easy it was to sew it up. Let's do it. So here are the basic things you need. I got this pattern, the cutout pattern from Thermal Web. I'll add the link underneath, and they have like a free downloadable printer friendly. The size is a little bit different. I made my own size. This is the size I wanted. I wanted this little piece, which is the main bodice, to fit my scrap fabric that I had. So I made it fit, so I made it that size. So that's the only difference. We've got the main bodice, we've got the wings, we've got 3 sets of eyes shapes because you've got the background, the middle ground, and the foreground, and then we've got the nose right here. So those are the pieces that you need to cut out. You need to cut out a front, a back, and then all those little pieces. I'm using scrap fabric, and really you can use whatever size you want depending on how big you cut your pattern out. I also had some lightweight interfacing to help me with the little pieces, so it's a little bit more sturdy. And so I added lightweight interfacing to all my fabrics that I'm going to use to the back, so I just attached it. And I also am using some temporary adhesive. Now you can use this, or instead of using regular interfacing, you could use like a heat bond press and heat bond it straight to the fabric to be able to sew it on. It just makes things a lot easier, but that's old. It's been in my stash for a long time. I don't think it really works, and I had this spray, so I went ahead and used this, and I'm going to show you how it works. I use pinking shears, but you can use just regular scissors, and then I just used my sewing machine with a zigzag stitch. Like I said, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your fabric. So I'm using this pink. I'm gonna just use the same, I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. So because I already have pieces that I already added interfacing, like the nose, the eye rounds, the back of the eye. So I'll go ahead and keep that. And then I'm gonna add more interfacing to this to be my main bodice. And so I'm gonna add interfacing to that. And then I'm gonna grab my pattern pieces and start transferring my shapes. Oh, I get questions sometimes of what interface am I using. This is just a very lightweight interfacing. It doesn't really matter what kind it is. It just gives the paper a little bit, the fabric, some more stability, so that way when you're sewing it to this other fabric, it sews better, and it's not like trying to go under your sewing machine, which sometimes they do. I'm gonna go ahead and finish all these, and then we're gonna head and just cut around it. Let me go ahead and finish cutting all these pieces up, and then we'll start putting them together. Alright, I've got all my pieces here all set up and ready, and this is what my owl ultimately will look like. It is so cute. Now, to sew this on a sewing machine, it would be a little tricky to have to do every single one at a time, and if they move around and everything. This is the reason why this temporary adhesive comes into play. Or even if you had the what is it called? Hold on, let me mute it. The heat bond. If you had like the heat bond, this is from Thermal Web, which was where I got the pattern from. If you had the heat bond press, then you could do that, because you would press it onto the piece first, the back of the piece, and then you would put it on top, and then you would press it to the other piece, and they would stick together. So you could use that. But I'm just going to be using some temporary adhesive because, again, I didn't have enough of that, and it was old and I wasn't sure, and I had this other. So it is a spray. So what I'm doing is I'm putting all the pieces, and you want to put it somewhere that is not going to get all over your table or whatever. And I really didn't use a whole ton of it. I just kind of sprayed them all out and started attaching. So here's my little owl front. I'm gonna grab the adhesive, shake it. I'm gonna start with the wings. Well, actually I sprayed everything, so I'm just like spraying a little bit everywhere. And honestly, I was a little bit afraid of it gunking up my machine, so I just kind of sprayed it mostly in the center and not so much on the outer sides. Then I can grab my pieces and start gluing them to my thing. Now, if you're very particular about things, you can measure exactly where you're gonna put things so they're not crooked or anything. But when it gets sewn up, like there's mistakes on it and stuff like that, but you can't, you know, it's just a cute little fluffy thing, and even some of the edges might fray out a little bit, and that just adds character to the make, and that's just my preference. And then next we're gonna do these little eyes. So 2 circles, make sure that they're even so I don't push down on them right away. I put them on first, make sure they're even. Again, you can do like a little line here to make sure everything's even and everything. Let's see, because I think this wing is too far down. Let me see. I haven't pressed on it really hard. I'm just gonna try to follow along the pattern of the fabric. There we go. No, it's too high up. See, and now I'm starting to overthink it. You can use a ruler and make sure it's even. And then the eyes. I think the reason why this is throwing me off is because the lines are facing this way and these ones are more straight, so it's kind of curved, but that's fine. And then next. And then the last. This is not, the bond is not to have a permanent hold. So it's not like it's gonna hold this forever. Obviously, if you were to wash it, you were to do anything, it's gonna fall off. The bond is just to help you get it on there so that you can sew it. So I don't know how high you want this nose. It can be right along the eyes, it can be lower down. That's really up to you and the look that you're going for. You can change the shape of the eyes. You can move them up higher, you can make them sideways so they look kind of a little funky. However you want to do them to give this owl character that you want to give it, whatever that is. I'm going to be using pink thread. See, like you can see here, I use pink thread. Now, the only thing with the pink thread is here at the eyes, you can really tell if I'm making a mistake. Like here I made a mistake and I went in a little bit. So if you are worried about that, I would do black for the eyes, and then I would do the color that matches everything else for everything else. Does that make sense? I don't mind that the eye is like that, but it did kind of bother me when I first did it. After I'm done, I feel like you can't even, nobody's gonna look at that. But I may go ahead and do the eyes with black and see what the difference is, and I'll show you that at the end. So if you can see here, it's bonded together. Just temporarily. I couldn't think of the word. I kept thinking now I can think of the opposite of temporary. That's what my mom kept saying. It is anyway, permanently. I kept thinking permanently and then I couldn't think of temporary. Anyways, temporarily hold, so then I can go to my sewing machine and zigzag stitch all these pieces on. So let's go do that. Alright, so I am doing a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine, and I'm changing the stitch length to like a 1, the length, because I want it to be a pretty tight zigzag stitch so it looks better. I'm gonna use, like I said, black for the eyes first, and then we'll see the difference. This is super easy. I'm just using a regular needle, and I'm just going to zigzag right over the eyeball, and we're gonna take it pretty slowly. someone here, okay, we're done with that, and then pull it and cut it. I had someone comment on one of my videos and mention that as a beginner sewist, and look, that's not perfect circle, it's just a little wiggly, but that's okay. We can't even tell once we're done, and I'll show you that afterwards. That as a beginner sewist, they would appreciate being able to see more of the actual stitching. Like sometimes I fast forward this part where I sew. So I'm going to do something where I'm just gonna show part of the stitching in this regular motion and then fast forward the longer parts. But comment below and let me know what you think, because sometimes I speed forward the stitching and the sewing on my serger and all that stuff because I feel like it adds a lot to the video and, you know, it might get boring or whatever. But do you think that I should leave more of the stitching itself and not fast forward through it all, or what is your opinion? So if you can see, I am staying right, like my needle, when it goes on the outer position, it's just barely outside of the felt. So it's not, I'm not going outside of the felt, I'm going in towards the felt. Or trying to anyway. Now that I said that, I messed that one up. You know what? Let me cut this off and I'll show you. Now that I did that on accident, I actually kind of like the stitching being able to be seen on the outside. What do you think? Comment below and let me know. I'm gonna switch to the next color, which is the pink that I'm gonna use for the rest of the stitching. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go around and stitch around each one of those things to attach them on. I think my bobbin's running really low, so we're gonna go ahead and change that because I don't want to run out. I have these already threaded bobbins that I use, and it's just so nice. I only have them in white, really. I'm sure you can get them in different colors. It's just, I don't have to wind the bobbins. Oh, I don't know what happened here. Come on. Here we go. All right, so now I'm gonna do the same thing for all of them. I'm gonna start with the top layer first. So you know the nose is a top, so I'm gonna start with that one. I'm gonna go all the way around. When I get to the peak of the nose, I leave the needle down, turn up, and go. Now that I'm here, the second one will be, oh, and here's my stitch. The zigzag is at a 2.5 and then the length of the stitch is at a 1, so if you're wondering that. Then next I move on to, let me cut this off, to the next layer, which would be, I'm going to do the bottom eye. So start here, go all the way around. Now we go to the other part of the eye. Honestly, y'all, I love sewing clothes, but this is so, like, such a soothing project for me. I don't know why. I made one yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to make a million more of these. These are so fun. to mention I'm not pulling my fabric, I'm just turning it as it's going. So I'm gently turning the fabric, and be careful so you're not pulling while the needle is down. You're just like guiding the fabric to be able to sew all around it. Alright, now I'm going to fast forward through the rest of it, doing exactly the same thing on the other side. And then for the wing, I'm come down, stop here, and then go down all the way around. Alrighty, that is all sewn up and it looks so cute. Honestly, I started sewing this up and I'm like, oh, I'm not a crafty, okay, I'm a crafty person, but I don't really like to make lots of little crafts or like even doll dresses. I love them, but sometimes they're like tedious because they're tiny. But for some reason, this was so like soothing and fun to me. I have really enjoyed making these, and I think I'm gonna make some more. I love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my back piece now, and I'm gonna place it right on top. I mean, I think maybe the reason why is because it's so easy. And this is another thing that you could do with a with your kids or something like that. You could even hand stitch all these little pieces on. You can use a permanent adhesive and have it permanently, and then just like do some hand stitching on, and they would really probably enjoy that. If you didn't want them using the sewing machine, or if you were teaching them how to use the sewing machine, this might be a project that would help with that. If you wanted to do a straight stitch instead of the zigzag stitch, that might be easier and help them. I don't know. And then also you could obviously make this a little bit bigger. This is the size I made because, like I said, I had all these little squares already that somebody donated to me. So I thought, you know what, we're gonna use that size. So, but you can definitely make it bigger. When you go to print out this pattern, you can always up the scale and print it larger or whatever you want to do. So that is an option as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew all the way around, and I'm going to leave a little space here at the bottom where we're going to flip it around, and I'm going to just use a straight stitch to sew it all the way around. Another thing, as one of my followers on Instagram mentioned, she said filling these up with rice so they're more of a texture bag. Like right now, this one I'm going to fill it up with like polyfill, so it's just soft, but putting the rice beads in there, even putting some rice and putting like different spices, if you like chamomile or lavender or something that's gonna smell a little bit, even like cinnamon cloves or something for a fall. If you make like a full color one and put them out and they can smell, and you can throw them in the microwave and like activate the rice bag smell and cuddle with them if you make a bigger one. I mean, the possibilities are endless with this, and I'm super excited about that. Like I'm like giving myself chills thinking about it. I also have a huge pile of already cut out squares, and I want to quilt these, and I think I want to make a couple of things with them. These are very fall colors, and I might make like a jacket maybe. But I was also thinking making a big quilted owl. Like how cool would that be? And then adding like fall spices. So that way it could be like a pillow cushion, and you can throw it in the microwave every once in a while. Maybe probably not so huge. It's big enough that it'll fit in the microwave. And warm it up, and then it'll just like when you have company coming over, you warm it up and you put it out, and you just, people can smell it when they walk. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking about that because I think that that would be really neat. What do you think? Comment below and let me know what other options you were thinking about. So we're gonna go ahead and put a straight stitch all the way around, leaving the gap. I changed it to straight stitch, and now my stitch is at a 2.5. So I get to the top of the ear, I place the needle down, and then I kind of turn so it goes around. I am using my foot to see where I'm going, so like at the edge of my foot is where I'm keeping the outside of the fabric. I did a back stitch at the end and then I'm pulling off. I did not realize I have lint all over me. Anyway, okay, so now it's all sewn up. You can see it right here. And we're gonna go with some pinking shears and cut around the edges so that way it doesn't start fraying on me and falling apart. If you don't have pinking shears, you can just clip little corners and stuff like that to help it turn a little bit better. So here are the ears and stuff. Just use your scissors, your snips, and cut around this curve so it has a little bit of bend. I would not recommend serging the edges because then they're going to be bulkier, and it's just nicer if they're not as bulky. And then be careful when you're shearing, or cutting the allowance, that you don't cut your actual thread. I didn't leave very much seam allowance to do all this. That's fine. All right, now I'm gonna flip it over gently. I didn't leave a very big gap. Y'all, we're like done. That was it. That was so fun. I don't know why. It's weird. Why? I guess it's not weird. I don't know why I say it's weird, but it's like, why am I enjoying making these so much? Like, I really want to make like 5 more, and I'm usually not one that likes to repeat things. I don't like to sew a bunch of the same thing. Well, as I say that, I sew the same pattern over and over again all the time. But I'm like, when it's like a crafty project, I'm like one and done. Like, I did the craft once and that's it. With this one, I'm like, I want to make a bunch of them. They're so cute and they're so easy. Maybe that's why, because it's like quick and easy. Just poking all the little ears, poking all the way around, and that's it. All we gotta do now is fill him up. Now, what's really cute about this too is that if you wanted to, you can add another layer in the back before we sew them together. I would grab this fabric here, and I may do it next time. I would grab this fabric here and fold over, so do like a little top stitch in here, and then when I'm attaching the back, place this in there too, sandwich it in on the outside, so then it's sewn on and it'll be like a little pocket on the back of this little thing. So if you wanted to do like a tooth fairy, like little pillow or something like that, you could put the little pocket here in the back, and that would be super cute. Or if you wanted this to be like a little purse, you could put the little purse pocket here in the back and add some straps when you're sewing it together. Put like a little strap there, so it'll be like a little purse. You don't have to fill it in. You can leave it flat, and then you'll have this back, and that would be your little purse area. I think that would be super adorable. And maybe what I'll do is when I make my next one, which probably later today, when I make my next one, maybe I'll go ahead and add a clip on here before I upload this on how to do the little, maybe I'll do a little purse version, because that would be super cute. Anyway, once that's done, we're gonna grab whatever you're gonna fill it with. I'm just using polyfill, like I said, and you're gonna stuff the little owl. And obviously you can stuff it as stuffed as you want. You can make him super chunky, you can make him thin, you can make him however you want to. You can fill it up with scraps of fabric. If you have like a ton of scraps of fabric and you wanted to fill it up with scraps of fabric, you can do that as well. All right, once he's full, you're just going to sew up the bottom close together. So this bottom area here, we're gonna fold that seam allowance down, fold it down, and then you're going to sew that close. Now you can do that by hand stitching. You can go to your sewing machine and top stitch. I think I'm just gonna go the easy route and just go to my sewing machine and top stitch that down real quick with a straight stitch. And we'll be done. Make sure to do a back stitch before and after, and go all the way to the end, which I did not do. are finished. How cute did this turn out? I love it. Obviously trim all your excess thread. Look at him. He is so cute. Now we have a friend. Oh yeah, comment below and let me know what you think. Do you like the fact that I did the black, or do you think the pink was better? I like both. I think they're super cute and adorable. All right, so we're gonna make the back pocket. I made another little owl real quickly. And what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna grab this piece here and I'm going to fold over and then fold over again and go seam. So to create that hem, so hem this up first with a straight stitch. And I was thinking about doing the straps, and I'm like, what color fabric do I use? I don't have a long piece of fabric, I just have these little scraps. So I think I'm just gonna piece a couple of these blue together. So it's like, it's not gonna be super long. So I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut two or three 2-inch strips and sew them together first, and then create like a binding for the strap. So let me do that. All right, so I grabbed 2-inch strips and I sew them along. If you have a long piece of fabric, then you just grab the long piece of fabric plus with 2 inches. The length of this one is 11 inches. I don't know, I'm just eyeballing it. We'll see how it ends up. And then I'm going to, obviously I have that seam there. You may not if you have long fabric. We're gonna fold it wrong sides together to create that memory crease first, because we're creating like the binding strap. And then we're gonna fold it into the center on both sides. You know, I have a binding making, like I have the little tools and I've never used them. I don't know why. And then we're gonna fold down the middle again. So this is gonna be our little strap. So we're gonna go over to our sewing machine and top stitch on both sides. And then I'm gonna, while I'm here with this iron, I'm gonna fold over the pocket at the top once, like a 1/4 inch, and then 1/2 inch down. And I'm gonna go, I actually did like 1 inch lip, and then I'm gonna go top stitch here. And I did 1 inch because I want it to be, I don't want it to be right up at the face. I want it to be kind of farther down, so it's like there's space to put stuff in. So I'm gonna put it like right here so I can fold it down even more, because see, I have a little bit left, so that's fine. Let's sew that up. So I just have a straight stitch on my sewing machine, and I'm just gonna go alongside the edge of my binding and sew it up. And I'm gonna do the same on the other side. And I like to use my fingers to guide my fabric. Okay, so there's my little strap ready, and top stitching this guy. All right, so now we're gonna grab the pocket and place it right on top of the owl face, right sides together. However far you want that pocket to be, how big you want it to be, where you want that pocket to start. I want it to be basically as high as possible. So we're gonna go right along that bottom edge here. And then we're gonna place the backing right on top. And now we're going to sew all the way around, leaving a gap here at the bottom. So you have all this extra here, which is fine. You can just sew right over that. And we're gonna sew all the way around. Again, oh, whew, I just looked over here. We've got straps to put in too. We're gonna fit those straps in here, attaching them right here at the top. I'm like, not even noticing the fact that I didn't even add my straps. And I'm gonna pin them here on the inside. You can baste them on first. Probably be kind of wise to baste them on first, but you'll know I just go for things. So I'm just gonna leave a little lip here at the top so I can see that I'm catching them when I'm sewing this right there. Woo! Good thing I looked down and I saw the straps. I was like, not even thinking about them. All right, and then we're gonna go sew with a straight stitch. Again, just like going all the way around. Here at the top of the pocket, I'm gonna go back and reinforce that. I'm also reinforcing here where the strap is, so when I go down, I'm gonna go back up. And do the same thing around the other side. All right, so now that that's sewn, we're gonna flip it over. Carefully, gently. No, we're not gonna flip it over. We're gonna trim the excess. And you're like, what are you doing? Yeah, we're gonna use your pinking shears and trim that. And now we're back to, after I do this, we're gonna be back to the other version of the owl, so I'm just gonna go really quickly through this part. All right, this is so cute. Now, if you wanted to put stuffing in there, you can, but you don't have to. You can just fold this close, top stitch it, and close it like we did the other owl, like boom. And this is done. Here it is. Here's a little purse bag here in the back. Stick your stuff in there. Oh, so cute. All right, I hope you love it. I hope you loved your other owl as well. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any of our tutorials. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know below what you think about showing the sewing versus not showing all the sewing and all that stuff. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.